Welcome to the Glorious Pro Wrestling Podcast with two nice boys talk about pro wrestling. I'm Andy, and who's there? Who's there?
Yeah.
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 It's Danny.
Yeah. Funny. That's not the company we're going to talk about. Yeah, it's me. Yeah.
Yeah. How's it going?
It is going just fine. Just swell. How are you?
Doing good.
Oh, Andy's doing good. Like that at turning the tables this episode. Let's see. We got some AEW Full Gear.
Yeah, we're gonna break down Full Gear here.
We're gonna cover. Are we gonna break it down? Does it need to be broken down? We're gonna. Andy wants to break it down. All right, we'll break it down. Fine. Andy wants to break it down. Full Gear. We can break it down. You're already here listening. You're already here listening.
Here's a little trivia for you. Do you know why it's called Full Gear?
It's because Pac always shows up in full gear. Very early on, there was a bit. I think Hangman was his first opponent, and they would do bits. And I actually made this observation while I was watching it with Mel and L, how Pac is always in full gear. He's always you never see him. You never ever see him in civilian clothes, I think you would call it at this point. I bet you didn't know I was going to know that. You never see him in a suit. You never see him in jeans. Pac gets out of the truck, even I think on this episode or on this pay-per-view in full gear, ready to wrestle. He's always in his trunks. And yeah, that's funny that you bring that up because we were just talking about that when we were watching.
Yeah, that they do like the BTE thing, little skit where they're gonna go eat and Hangman's in his full gear, and
they're like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Well, Pac's always in his gear." Yeah. And
so
that was when Hangman was wearing trunks too. And
actually,
that's when he was in trunks and the
vest.
Yeah. So
old school Hangman.
Yeah, old school Hangman.
What did you think overall of this show?
I mean, the bill was stacked. Immediately out of the gate, one of our observations was the crowd was super cold. It took 2 or 3 matches for New Jersey to, get liquor in them. I don't know what the difference was. But they were they weren't giving shit to friggin' Jay and Adam, and they weren't giving shit to Mercedes and Chris. And then I think after that was Kyle and Will, and there's your spark right there. I mean, I don't know what more you need on a pay-per-view, no less. But then subsequently every match, you started seeing more and more of a crowd reaction. I don't know if you got that at all on your end.
Yeah, 100%. I didn't know if it was the crowd, because I didn't really realize that part of the crowd where I'm like, oh, they're quiet. To me, it almost just felt like the beginning of the show was kind of like, oh, this can be on TV. This can be on TV.
Jay and Adam.
The first 2 matches, MJF.
Oh, you're right. It was MJF and Roddy,
and the tag teams,
and then the tag team,
Private Party.
You're right.
Outrunners, House of Black, the Acclaimed. Good stuff. I mean, but those 2 matches could have been on Dynamite, and
I've just never seen a Max match so unreceived. So so quiet. Like that was the first, and it was noticeable, and it was like oh shit, like they're not doing shit, they're not chanting. And then eventually they kind of pumped up the volume, and it was like Roddy, the chants you could kind of hear were split even, but it was quiet. As far as the card, I kind of forgot about the card, to be honest. So every time the next match would kind of show up, I was like, oh fuck, like, and then it was the one after, and it was like, oh yeah, we're gonna do that, and then it was like, oh shit, and then it was like at the end, and it was like, oh yeah, okay, that was. I mean, the only thing I would say, and we kind of bitch about this always, it was just the lack of presence of the women's division.
Yep.
It was just the belts. Whereas the men's division, you had quite a few non-title stuff, right? Yeah. I think that's a little bit of that's not always an ongoing issue. And they did do the only other thing was the women's title, and you had Willow.
There was a pre-show match, Anna Jay, Deanna, and
really?
Anna Jay went over. Mm-hmm.
That must have been quick because I thought I came into 0 Hour very early, and I came in at the Rampage 4-way. And it wasn't called the Rampage 4-way. It just was fucking random as hodgepodge as hell.
Oh, yeah.
Via Rampage.
Which by the way, doesn't make... 100% the correct guy went over. But you know what? Now I don't understand how Buddy Matthews can win this thing and not be in the Continental Classic.
Sure. Yeah,
that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I don't know,
man. Mordos, and Mordos is on there. Like,
maybe that turns into something so we can see LIJ back on TV and we can see House of Black doing stuff. And they have been, which has been great. I'd like to see them.
But they put Brody King in it.
Well, there you go. That's why they didn't put Buddy. I don't know. If you were to ask me one of the most underrated guys out there, Buddy would be the top on my list.
Yeah, especially on that roster. And he got like huge chance at the end. Like, obviously,
I would say in the entire landscape of wrestling, like the guy that is overlooked. For me, it's Buddy Matthews. That guy's a world title
ever since the 205. I mean, he was really good before, but I think once he started that 205 stuff, like, I think that took him off. Where it's like, this guy is obviously not 205.
They did the storyline. I was just getting like, I love that they even addressed that in the storylines of 205 Live with him, where he did have to make weight. He did have to prove it because it's a little ridiculous that guy is regulated to that roster, which, you know, to be fair, like, you know, that show never got its due. That show was treated like ROH is now. Like, it was like
so much effort into that whole story. And dude, I feel like that story was so
like
good.
A fucking champion. He wrestles like a champion. He moves like a powerhouse. And he's light on his feet. It's just, I loved that guy. There's a meme that's like, no one will understand the relationship of a young wrestling fan and the random mid-carder that they fall in love with during their childhood. That's Buddy Matthews for me in adulthood. Like, you latch onto these guys. I think in the meme it was D'Lo Brown, right? Because D'Lo Brown never really got a fair shake.
I mean, how many of those people can you look at and you're like, you know, that like mid 2000s cruiserweight division, like, you know, it's like so many guys on there that you're like, holy shit. Some of them got titles. Some of them never even saw the light of day of kind of even a WrestleMania match. So
yeah, totally. 0 Hour. So we're talking about 0 Hour.
Yeah, the Big Boom AJ. Did you see that stuff?
I did.
Did you like it?
No.
You didn't like it?
No. I'm old. I don't fuck with this shit.
Why? Okay, tell me why.
Why did you like it? I don't know the backstory well, but they're Costco. They're viral Costco family. They're a family. Are they all a family? Yeah. They're a family. Right,
not the smallest kid, not the Rizzler, but
you can say it. Yeah, the Rizzler. It's cringe coming out of your mouth. It's cringe coming out of my mouth. Hey. I hate it.
Hey, come on.
What is? And so that's referencing what they call mewing.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay, so I hate all of it. I get mewing. I get it. I think.
Dude, come on. This kid came out with the Big Show. When it comes to celebrity,
God, seeing that visual was insane. Especially as somebody who doesn't fucking know. I don't know why these guys are over, why these kids are over. Like
TikTok, bro.
And I gotta tell you, that's kind of a turnoff.
Millions of followers they have.
I don't know. I just it's not my thing. It's not the celebrity that I want to be grifted by. You know,
I think it ended up working. I mean, like,
yeah, they obviously blew their load, so they didn't give a fuck about the first couple matches because of fucking AJ. And of course he's up against QT Marshall. QT Marshall, who can make anybody look good, who's a fucking, you know, trainer.
Yeah. They've known each other for like a long time. Like AJ.
Why does everybody have? Why is that always QT Marshall in every fucking body? Every fucking
I think it's just the indies on the Northeast.
They go way back. Like,
yeah.
I just no, I didn't give a shit about it. And his kids seem like assholes and spoiled and privileged.
They're not both his kids.
They're not?
No, only one of them is.
How did they come together then?
Just the power of TikTok and collaboration.
See, this I don't.
The match was not offensive. The match was what it was. And the dude wrestled with a broken foot.
The broken freaking neck.
With the broken freaking foot. And beat QT Marshall. I'm just saying
you're right.
It wasn't an offensive match between collaboration and like celebrity to wrestler. This guy used to be a wrestler, so it made entire
You're right.
sense.
At least it's not, we're not fearing for Snoop Dogg's life as he jumps off of the top rope and you're like, God, he's gonna die. Oh my God. But don't make me do this argument. There's so many people on the roster already, and you had to fucking shove a TikTok celebrity instead of, and I don't know where the division starts and where it ends. Is it just cameos from contemporary celebrities for me? I don't know, because they're just taking roster spots in an attempt to get the company over and get other eyes on it. I don't know. Probably not, because when the Philadelphia Eagles showed up in lucha masks in WrestleMania,
I mean,
I didn't love that either, to be honest. I wasn't a huge fan of that celebrity appearance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess
it's different though when the guy had previously worked. I mean, you know, they have like 3 to 4 million followers on their social media, and this guy can work. Dude, that's perfect to get new eyes and new, you know, kids that watch these people that are like, oh, this guy's gonna have a match on YouTube. I can watch that. They might not buy the pay-per-view, but they're gonna watch that on YouTube.
A fuck ton of kids into AEW specifically.
Yeah.
Because
I will say it's not going to be his last match.
Oh, really?
So you better be prepared to see so much of the boom. You like that?
You liked it. You enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it.
You enjoyed it.
I thought, like I said, like I think it was a crossover that worked. So it's like QT Marshall it's QT Marshall.
It's some 0 hour shit. It's some 0 hour shit.
It's not on the main card. Realistically, who's it really taking from? Because they already have that show stacked to the brim. So it's like,
where does it end? So the E gets Jake Paul, and AEW goes, Well, who could we pull in?
What a comparison! They're about to
And
strap the
that's who they
TNT
fucking
championship.
chose.
They're
That's who
gonna
they fucking chose. To compete with Jake Paul, to compete with a viral star. They chose the Costco
You
man.
mean Logan Paul, or are you talking about Jake Paul?
I don't give a you know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Logan Paul.
Okay.
Talking about Logan Paul. Although there is talk of Jake Paul apparently getting pulled onto the roster. Whatever. The whole concept. It's just the whole concept. The whole concept of internet celebrities just immediately makes me go
I think what doesn't sit right is the fact that they're the Pauls. You know, that's what doesn't sit right. Like at least I'm gonna say at least AJ has appreciation for professional wrestling.
Well, hey, now you got me playing devil's advocate.
No.
Now you got me playing devil's advocate.
The Pauls are in it for
Logan
the money.
Paul took to the waters pretty. If you're gonna book,
just because he's talented doesn't mean that Just because he's talented doesn't mean.
And he got them
that he respects it.
And they got him the Prime. Now it's on the mat. He brought a lot to the table. What are they going to put Costco on the AEW mats? They're going to put Costco on there?
No, you're going to get the AEW toy line at Costco now.
Well, I hope that does well.
Or you don't see anymore.
You don't see anymore.
Like at least when I was like in elementary school and like back in the day, you would have so many like WWE branded like notebooks and pencils, and you don't
like school
supplies, backpacks with fucking John Cena.
So yeah, that would have been. I'm thinking. So I was a couple behind you. There were definitely notebooks,
but there was WWF stuff like that as well.
Yes, sure. Eventually, the thing about it got there because that was a key demographic, but then I think there was pushback because, some of it's like
it would have like lead on
too violent, too dark.
Yeah.
But you're right. Like as soon as John Cena came on the scene in that whole ruthless aggression era, yeah, I remember seeing those backpacks.
Yeah.
And
they weren't great. I mean, they were pretty poorly made notebooks and horrible erasers. Those erasers that like just end up smearing your pencil.
Oh, yeah, they make it worse.
Yeah. It was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, it's merchandise.
Hell, had Rey Mysterio and John Cena right there.
Yeah, I guess they don't really do that so much. Dude, I thought I could like walk into like a Target or something and get like a fucking little shitty toy wrestling belt. No.
Oh, go to Walmart.
Wrong. I could not find one. Walmart, I guess I haven't tried Walmart, but like
yeah, try Walmart.
Like you find one. That's like the coolest thing.
Yeah,
you can get.
I mean, back in the day, they were like foam. Now I think they're like flappy, weird plastic.
Yeah, they're like shit leather. They're like shit material that's like kind of shiny like leather, I think.
Yeah.
Because I still have. I probably showed you it because I still have the foam Intercontinental title that I had, and
you have the old school Intercontinental.
It's the old school one. Yeah, you would call it the old school one. Yeah. And that one's on foam. And then eventually
I had the oval one, kind of like the one after.
See, I like that one too.
Yeah, me too.
I like that one a lot, actually. And then I have a Winged Eagle, but it's on that shitty fabric that you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like a little, it's like a little toy one.
Gotta get you a real one.
I mean, yeah, but also why? Did I win it?
You can put it back there, and then it's for all eyes to see.
It's a set piece.
Yeah.
But that's you just want to wear that around everywhere you go.
Mm. Be careful.
Hey, if you won a gold medal, would you wear it in public?
Gold medal
Is that
for what?
something you're proud of, something you worked really hard to do?
I think if I was an athlete, won a gold medal, I would probably wear it if I'm going to an event that I was in that sport in as a guest. If I'm not doing that.
Yeah, you're not wearing it to like ramen.
No. Maybe if you win like an Olympic gold medal. Like,
why do they make them wearable then? Why do they make them so wearable if you're not supposed to wear it? Like, what's up with that? First off, why are you giving me a belt and you're like, you can't wear that belt? Don't wear the belt. That belt doesn't hold your pants up. Why'd you make it a belt then?
That's Cody.
Why'd you make it like that? Because why did you give me a piece of cool fashion that you're like, well, just make sure you don't wear it in public?
Yeah.
When am I supposed to wear it? I'm just saying.
Shows.
I'm just saying. Like when they give you a trophy, duh. You're not carrying around the trophy. It goes somewhere special. When they give you like a platter or a plaque, like a plaque is like an inherent like thing that hangs on the wall, but it's a belt. Or it's like a necklace with like a very cool adornment that says, I am the best. Is it arrogant? Yeah, but like, is it also wearable? Like, yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
If they gave you a golden sweatshirt for being the coziest boy, you're the best cuddler. You're the coziest boy. Here's a golden sweatshirt, and it looks super sick, and it's got a cool pattern, and it's got your name like so subtly like around like the cuff. It's not like on the front. It's just like on the cuff. It's really subtle, and they're like, "You're an asshole if you wear this in public.
Don't wear it." Yeah.
Just saying. Just questions, and if you have answers to them, you can call in and answer that question for me. Why do they make things wearable? Hit them with the number. Andy's got the number. It's 720. There's a lot of sevens.
There are a lot of sevens.
71
terrible at this.
0. Hang on, we're getting it. Just hold your dollars.
720-773-1967.
Thank you. And maybe you can answer that question. And also you can answer our question, would you wear your gold medal and or championship belt or any sort of award in public?
See, when you say it like that, wearing an award in public is like, no.
Why do we give them then? Why do we give them out then?
So they look cool on your wall.
That's something is backwards, and I'm not sure what it is yet.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna find it.
Let's go to
and that's 0 hour.
Yeah, let's go to the Fatal 4-Way tag team match, because this was interesting. Mostly the Acclaimed seemed like tension there.
This was kind of one of those stories of the Acclaimed splitting up.
And I think because it focused so heavily on that, it took away from what Private Party was doing, which is their first like defense.
But also it's a 4-way on their first defense, so that's a lot to not be on them.
Yeah.
Usually when you're defending your title for the first time, it's only as important as its challenger. And we talk about this on this podcast a lot, but when you have 3, especially in a tag team situation, it kind of, you could look at it 2 ways. One way, it kind of waters it down. Yeah. Second way, it kind of cushions it, right? Depending on if you're a glass half empty or a glass kind of full guy. So it kind of, I completely agree with you as far as, the stakes, the weight, and also, it was at one point both Acclaim guys were legal.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Which when I've seen it happen in the past, I was like, "Oh, that's funny." But I think in this context of this match, I was just like, it happened so late into the match where I'm just like, you can't be serious of you're trying to pull this off. You know?
Yes, I do.
Like that's almost
Because
something that happens like the New Day did it. They did it right away. That's how you kind of do it. You're like
and they're
trying to
like,
pull the
"Oh, look at
strings.
us! Look at how
Yeah.
wacky this gets! Look how anything can happen!" And then usually somebody blind tags in
Yeah.
after that. But this was like, I feel like everybody was down. Somehow they both were legal. And then
they still took a while to get pinned.
It took a very long time, and then Max was like, "Okay, pin me."
Yeah.
And then that got interrupted, which was interesting considering it feels like Max's character is more
the
of
one to
the
pin.
combative one. Yeah, would be the one to be like, "Hey, you lay down for me. I'm the best wrestler alive." He's been doing this best wrestler alive thing. It's not good.
I think Private Party with each of these other tag teams would have been a better story than having everyone all together. You could have done Private Party Outrunners, and you kind of give Outrunners a chance to shine as the first opening, pay-per-view match. You have House of Black, who need something to prove themselves, even if they would have taken the L. They took an L anyway.
That would be a big win as well. And so would it against the Acclaimed. And I feel like the Outrunners, we still need to put some fire behind that heat before those belts go on those boys.
Mm-hmm.
But like the other two teams as just a tag match would have been a definitive. And if you're gonna break up the Acclaimed anyway, like why not
do it in a tag team?
Why not make it mean something for Private Party? Because the Acclaimed are former trios, former tag.
Yeah.
I loved them when they first started. If they're gonna break them up, like you might as well at least kind of make it mean something for Private Party.
Yeah, losing the titles. I mean, as big as it gets, losing that chance to win the tag titles.
But having it all, and it's like, yeah. And I think it was like supposed to be crazy and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. It was missing a little.
It was missing something, a little spice.
It was missing something.
We already talked about MJF, Roderick Strong. Is there anything you wanted to add to that? I mean, MJF wins.
Just a bummer, and like what the fuck?
What's gonna happen?
What's the problem? This isn't even really about MJF either at this point. This is about Undisputed Era. Yeah. And how they're not.
Did anything happen after? Did Adam Cole come out?
Yeah, he did. And so did Kyle. And Kyle. Yeah, they fucking fully waited a grip for MJF to lay into Roddy after he pinned him. And then they decided
he was doing the arm thing. Yeah.
And then they decided to run out. After like a good while.
Yeah.
So and then at the end, Kyle O'Reilly is like, "This is kind of your fault, Adam." And you have all the guys there in the ring, but like they're refusing to get together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was Kyle O'Reilly, who's been on a terrible run, who is part of a terrible faction, who needs fucking to do something better for the caliber of wrestling
this is.
That guy does, is not going to join the Undisputed Kingdom, which is barely a thing. At this point, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't even know. I can't even remember if we saw Matt Taven and Mike Bennett.
I think they
came out. They came out after then, a full grip.
Yeah.
It was almost Adam and Kyle, and then those two.
Yeah, it was. Well, it was. Yeah, so Kyle helped Roddy out, and then Adam was still in the ring with Matt Taven. And,
Right, and they were like, "Let me help you up," and he was like, "No, I'll get up on my own."
yeah.
Well, what's going on? So, blah.
Blah.
I wish,
Uh,
do something else with Max. That is cool.
yeah.
I think he
Mercedes
did fine.
versus
Oh yeah,
Statlander.
Mercedes versus
Dude,
Statlander.
this was a
You
good
could have fooled me.
match.
You could have
Yeah.
fooled me. Did I really believe it? No, but after all the, and it was clean. There was no interference by Camille.
Mhm.
It was like the one woman who they kind of built to be like an authentic challenger
Yeah.
to take the belt off her. And just it was a solid, clean defeat.
Which is even
And I found
which is
that
great.
amusing.
Yeah.
I found that
No,
amusing.
it's good. It's good because then you tell the person who's your, bodyguard to stay in the back. I'm going to do this myself and do it yourself.
Yeah, that's champion moves. The story they're doing with Camille, and we've talked about it before, is still very much going the way that I think we see it going.
Mm-hmm.
To the point that maybe that's the one, but they did that with Mariah May and Toni Storm, and that's the bummer. And they also just have done that story with Max and Wardlow, and
it's becoming a trope.
it's becoming, well, it has been a trope, right?
But I mean,
it's not the first time we've seen it, but like in the succession, in the frequency that we're seeing it, I feel like it's a bit much. So maybe that's that, but yeah, solid. It's too bad for Statlander. The thing is, I just didn't enjoy her first TBS title run. There was really nothing there for me.
She was doing that alien gimmick kind of thing
At the time, yeah. And that's kind of the thing with Statlander is her fucking finisher is called Wednesday Night Fever. It's very Dynamite centric, and outside of that context is very like Wednesday.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just don't feel like she's locked in on as a viewer.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure who she is as a character. You look at and I talk about this a lot too. You look at Mercedes, it's very fucking clear. It's CEO, she's a boss girl, whether it's face or heel, you know who she is and what she stands for, right?
Yeah.
Like it goes across the board in a lot of different ways with a lot of different people. And I think a lot of different people are lost character-wise. So how are you going to connect to me as a viewer when you yourself don't even really know what's your angle? You know what I mean? And I think that's why the alien thing failed, because like, sure, yeah, on the indies when you're working like different town, like that'll be fine.
Right.
It's the alien.
People are like, oh, it's different.
Crazy. Yeah, it's different, but like you don't have to like, I don't have to. This goes for like just writing fiction television as well. I learned the very hard way of someone ripping apart characters I thought I built really well. You need to fall in love with these. You want to see these characters every fucking week. You want to see them. That's like Max for me. I love seeing MJF on my TV screen because I know it's going to entertain me. And you're like, oh boy, he's gonna say some shit. Like, wait, watch this guy. You know what I mean? Like, watch this guy go. That's why I like Max Caster. It's because he does his run, and it's like, oh wait, you know what I mean? You like, let's hear what he's gonna do.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Right.
And they're cute. The Acclaimed were cute. You know what I mean? It was like they were fun. They were fun. I don't get that with Chris Statlander. I also don't get that with Danny Garcia. Like,
totally.
I didn't get that with Jungle Boy, but I do get that with Scapegoat Jack Perry.
There's the babyface gimmick only goes so far that then you need to add to what your
Yeah.
character is. And I think that they're both still at that. I'm a good wrestler. I'm a baby face.
Yep.
But that's it.
But then when you get the belt, it's like, okay, now what?
Yeah.
And like, why? Like, why am I caring? That's when people are really good in the chase, is when, and even I think they're better when they do have that identity.
Yeah.
And so
100%.
when it came with the stuff with Statlander, I was like, I don't really want it, but they had me kind of convinced at times in the match that she was gonna fucking pin Mercedes.
Right. And like the build wasn't bad. Like her being,
it wasn't
almost taken out, like just constant.
Yeah, they did the Rikishi thing. They like,
Yeah.
They put effort into it. So, so far, one of the greater ones, I would say.
Oh yeah,
of the
I think this is
defense.
probably one of her. Like, I think it might be her best one in AEW so far.
I mean, Stephanie Vaquer. Nobody thought Stephanie was going to take the title, but that match though.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
got her hired into the E. Like, but
that's true. That's true.
I thought they might put it back on Chris.
Yeah,
to be honest.
Hangman, Jay White.
Yeah,
Hangman.
I'm
takes
biased.
The L on this one.
Hangman takes the L. I'm surprised by a lot of the people who took the L.
Yeah.
This whole pay-per-view.
Yeah.
This clearly, I hope it wasn't clear, but I hope this is like starting a new thing for some of those cats. This was still dope. I didn't know which way they were going to go with it. I'm biased towards both performers. It was great.
I think these two are, you get those matches where you're just like, these are when you get the fight forever chance, because holy hell, even when they were slowing things down with the ankle locks,
right?
So good. So
yeah,
good.
there were times where I was just like, dude, it's the middle of the ring, like there's no way. Or
dude, what I really liked was Hangman doing the ankle lock. Or hold on.
No, flip it.
It was flipped. And Hangman was crawling to the rope, dragging Jay White with him.
There was one silly instance of that when they were outside of the ring on the ramp. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. There was the ankle lock out there, and then they're like, "Okay, here we go." Like, ding.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this one, that part, no, like that's too ridiculous. Like,
but the crawl, like in the ring where he's dragging him along, it's perfect. Like the person that's giving you the submission is not inching, helping you to like get to the rope. He was full weight dragging himself, which is, I was just like, that's perfect. That's what you want. You want the realism of it, and it's when it's like that, you're like, I think that just tops it off as a great match.
And then there were good sequences. The dead eye coming in, or the lariat, the buckshot, and then getting caught for the switchblade, getting turned around, like stuff like that they had already figured out from each other, kayfabe from previous encounters.
Well, like the finish too, ankle lock into the fucking switch. Like, is it switchblade? Is it the switchblade? What is it called?
Blade Runner.
Yeah, like that finish. I was just like, oh, that's cool.
And he still never pinned Jay.
Dude, a lot of people don't, from what I've seen, a lot of people don't like Jay's gimmick, I think for reasons like that we've been talking about before. But I like it just because he's such a, like, he's a baby face who you kind of, but he's also kind of a shit,
I think he's like I don't really see him as either one of those. He's very easily a heel, in my opinion. I can see why his gimmick is thin, but I don't know. I guess the violence and the arrogance are enough to respond to me, and he's padded out with the Bang Bang Gang. So that's like, yeah, he is the de facto leader.
Yeah.
They treat him like that. He carries himself like that.
Yep.
For I don't know, that responds well enough for me that he's just after the goal. He's after gold and he's after hurting people. And when he came back, he was like, I'm running down the people who opposed me previously.
Mm-hmm.
And it starts with him. So
and this match plays into the ending of the whole pay-per-view, which is also
which came around. It was a little meh, but we'll get there. I got some. It was just a lot, but
with the Fletcher and Ospreay, what a match!
Yeah, following this shit too, like again, stuff with no titles, no number one contenderships, like just
hate.
Solid wrestling feuds, solid wrestling stories.
Mm-hmm.
So for that, I'm just like very grateful. You know, the more you can. Yes, the right person went over. Kyle Fletcher is yes. I'm ready to see him and have been for a while as a singles guy, which is crazy because I loved him in the tag.
Oh, 100%.
I loved United Empire, Aussie Open to be specific, right?
Yeah.
They were they were two, they were the Aussie Open. When they were all together, it was United Empire. Yeah.
I think AEW has right now such a good grasp, and Kyle Fletcher has a good grasp of who he is, and as a wrestler, it's time to strap that rocket on his back.
If you can,
have him win the C2. Have him clean house of the C2. Beat everybody.
And this one also came without interference. No, they didn't get the screwdriver involved, to my recollection.
It was clean.
This was clean.
Clean. Yeah. Just surprising. I mean, surprising, but Kyle's gonna.
There's plenty. Yeah, there's so many good sequences that go back to their first exhibition, where he took it to the face.
Oh yeah. You can tell that they just lay in certain moves to each other where they're just
and that fucking pile driver onto the steps.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Very unchill.
Yeah.
There was
I was glad that they kind of took a moment to, at least Kyle did, to take a moment to eye where he was gonna be, because I was just
totally. It was
into it, and I thought he was gonna do it right away. I was like,
far looking. That's far away looking. Is that? Are you sure that?
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I was like, oh, that's some distance, bro. You're gonna have to.
There was a good tracking camera moment where I think Ospreay went from one end. He goes up the stairs onto the apron, met him somewhere, delivered a move, and they met him right at the. They stayed with him the whole time, and it was like that was like a high five moment. I feel like if you were the camera guy, you're just like, anybody? Yeah. I got that whole thing. I got that one shot. That was a point that stood out. And nothing with the Tiger Driver. No Tiger Driver hesitations.
Yeah,
that was going on for a while. That you're like, oh god, he's queasy about the Tiger Driver. So then this is where this is where he loses. And there was none of that.
Yeah. I think from the beginning, from their entrances, I was like, oh, this isn't the same Will Ospreay. We're not getting the pumped up Will Ospreay. But then on the inverse, we got Kyle Fletcher with the freaking dope ass entrance.
Right. And that's kind of how you knew he was going over, but I didn't register that at the time. I think Mel or L was like, I don't think I've ever seen Will Ospreay wear black. And I was like, yeah, he's more of a green. He's more of a green or like a muted red
and
and
like
olive.
flashy, gold accents.
I think he had an Assassin's Creed one where he was like kind of red. But I was like, yeah. And then the fact that Fletcher was in white trunks, that was completely. I just thought immediately that the storytelling was, you could just walk through my front door, turn and look at the thing, and just be like, I know exactly what's going on. You know what I mean? Without watching the build.
I want to watch this.
Yeah, I think you could see that. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, freaking great. I really want to see what they do with Fletcher, and I hope they don't freaking mess it up because he's
fucking fuck it up. Yeah, I hope they don't fuck it up.
Because it's there. It's there for you to grab. It's there for you to make a compelling story. Just do it.
And you got to leave Ospreay behind. You got to move on to something. I think the obvious thing is standing right next to you, and it's Takeshita. And I think you can milk that with wins, and then do something there. And I'm fully here for that fucking pay-per-view match.
Yeah. Let's go with the Mariah May celebration. Mina.
Champagne celebration. Mina turns on her. Not quite.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, yeah,
Mariah,
in a way,
went to hit her with champagne.
Yeah.
During the dancing, whatever.
Dancing whatevers. There were dancing whatevers.
They're like, let's celebrate, and it's like, oh, are they dancing to the ring? And then they're like, no, we're just kind of chilling in the middle because she had to go grab the bottle to do the deed. And yep,
get speared in the process.
That was a segment.
It was.
On
to the next.
It was. I mean, they went through a table. She drew blood. She's crazy, Mina Shirakawa now.
I mean, it's the same like callback to Mariah May's turn with Toni Storm with the blood and then giving her a kiss. Like now
right. This is the pattern that Mariah kind of does. Right. She brings you close and then throws a champagne party and then kills you.
Kills you.
Turns on you.
I mean, it'll be a good match.
But in this instance, Mina got the upper hand. I'm not convinced they're going to put the title on Mina Shirakawa. I am excited to see the match that comes out of this.
I like that she kind of turned into almost like unhinged laughing, kind of like Joker style, where it was like she just like, because her, I thought my best friend was my friend, and then she tried to hit me with the bottle. And her having to spear her
through.
God,
if I had a nickel. Yeah.
Yeah, a nickel every time that happens to me.
Every time I've turned around.
So we'll see. I mean.
Yeah. I wish there was a women's title defense in lieu of that. But it's fine. Yeah.
Daniel Garcia, Jack Perry. Daniel Garcia wins.
I didn't see that happening. I did not see that happening.
That's crazy.
I kind of agreed with Jack Perry because Jack's like, you're not ready. And I was like, you're kind of right, Jack. Like, as a guy who's, again, gimmick that was so over, had to me little substance. And
100%. I feel like his title reign was not great, not good.
I mean, I think you're right, but I liked what I was getting from him, from the scapegoat, Jack Perry.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. I feel like he was just so tied into the elite stuff and always having to do elite stuff in the same way that Okada's championship reign. What has that happened?
Okada's not really doing. It's just a belt that he kind of carries around at this point.
But it's just been so tied into the elite where it's like they weren't really giving these people their own stories for their own titles.
He had a minute he had some glimpses. He had some glimpses and flares, and I think like the scapegoat character for him, as opposed to the Jungle Boy. Like to me, the Jungle Boy was thin.
This is so much better.
Like there was nothing for Jungle Boy to say.
Yeah.
And then when he became the scapegoat, there was everything for him to say.
Yeah. 100%. I mean, him coming out that entrance where it's just the fire and almost just the silhouette. God. The silhouette.
He was walking out with he came out this one, and Mel is just like, that looks like jizz. And he was like, Jack, what are you doing to that poor goat mask before you?
Oh no!
All the white shit on it. It's just
probably because it's made out of like paper mache.
He just had his fucking way with the fucking. He just came all over that goat mask before he hit the ring.
Oh man!
You're supposed to save the testosterone for the match. Yeah. You're not supposed to come all over your gear before. But I was enjoying heel Jack Perry. I was not enjoying the belt. I get it, but like, anyways, I was surprised. Mm-hmm. Again, a surprising L.
Yeah, and I think another surprising Daniel Garcia in the C2. Jack Perry
as the fucking TNT champion. That's fucking dumb.
Yeah,
I'm not.
When are you gonna make that title mean something? Like,
or like, yeah, is Jack gonna? Are you gonna keep doing that? And Jack's gonna just come ruin it for him off the bat and pull him out of the fucking tournament, so they can continue to feud over the belt. That's what I see. If not Jack, somebody else.
Yeah.
Maybe Nick Wayne.
That's a good point. Yep.
Yeah, to get his dad's TNT title back. I don't know if you want to do something different.
That's a way call back.
Yeah, why not? Long-term storytelling, bub.
No, but that's a good point because that would be a lot better. Daniel Garcia, as a new champion, shouldn't be in this tournament. Where
and you're gonna have to have him taken out.
Yeah. That's not good.
That's bad.
That's not good as for a new champion. If anything, I agree. You put Jack Perry in this match,
right? So he can like make up, and eventually he's going to go after the elite guy he's least familiar with, Okada. Right.
That's a better story right there. Like,
and it's not even one you have to see all the way through. It's just just a little thing you can play with.
Just like in the last time, didn't we get like there was a tournament, and I think there was Dax versus Cash. Like, doing that was like, oh, this is cool.
And it didn't even get there, I don't think. Or no. It did it. I can't remember.
But yeah, we'll see. Takeshita, Ricochet. Takeshita wins.
Again, I think the right guy went over.
Yeah, 100%. This was a little...
And again, it's shocking.
Underwhelming.
Shocking that Ricochet lost.
Yeah.
Underwhelming. Here's the deal, and this has happened multiple times. After Will's matches, things tend to take a dip. A dip.
Yeah.
And even that women's title segment was like,
yeah.
And then the TNT title thing was like, Jack wrestles really slow. That's his heel move. He's like rarely in the ring. He wrestles on his own terms. Mm-hmm. I think a little bit of it is like, the Jungle and Jungle Boy is like the flippy bits, and he doesn't do that now that he's the scapegoat, right? He's not the Jungle Boy. So we kind of took a lot of that out of his wrestling. And his matches are like, the one that immediately comes to mind is him and Darby. That was very slow. He almost worked like a 90s big guy. He almost worked like a Kevin Nash, who's like, you don't leave your feet. You're like Mike Myers, or you're like Jason, in that you're kind of very slow, looming, inevitable force of violence.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of got a similar thing out of that TNT match. He worked really slow.
Yeah.
It was a slower pace. And then we had this one, and it also just kind of didn't hit
click.
that gear.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I was happy to see Takeshita win. I think that's the right move.
Yeah.
It's a bummer. Ricochet hits walls.
Yeah, well, I don't know what they're. I mean, Ricochet is in the C2, and who knows? I think he's gonna suffer of that, trying to find that thing that clicks.
Yeah.
What we're
Okay. What
talking
was
about.
his thing that we picked up on? He's trying to get, I think, out of this world over.
Yeah.
And it's not. And that's
when you push those, that's WWE
that's
shit.
some
I don't want
WWE
that.
shit. You see where I'm going. That's some WWE shit where they're like,
Insert
I think it was.
catchphrase.
I think in there it was superhuman or it was something superhero. They were like, you're like a superhero. Like the kids are gonna love you. You're a superhero. That's what you are. That's what you do. And that never works because again, that's so thin.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would rather see Ricochet be like a fucking cutthroat instead of like this kind of like, hey, I'm new around here.
Yeah.
He's kind of a
Everyone's
baby face.
friends.
I would be curious with heel Ricochet or Hurt Syndicate. Hurt Syndicate is such a dumb name. Hurt Business, Ricochet. You know what I mean? And like see what he does there. Maybe he needs that padding.
I agree.
But
I would 100% would want that as a
but I think
new thing.
that's been Ricochet's problem since the E. Has been who the fuck is this guy? Other than a guy who does big spots.
I almost would have wanted Prince Puma here.
Sure, yeah, I know.
Just
and
as
he was
something
like
different,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Different look. Even if you are happy-go-lucky, happy to be here, at least I think with Prince Puma, he was a little bit more like
aggro.
hard and better. Yeah, a little bit more.
Yeah.
Not those tendencies. So it's like not getting that and then being like, but you were so cool.
Also, his gear seems to be different,
the same.
which also to me is indicative of like we're not really sure. Right, he used to be gold trunks, gloves, which I didn't like, which I did not like. I think knee pads, elbow pads, and this one he was in like racing pants. I don't think you could call them tights.
Yeah.
No gloves, no elbows, just like some loose fitting pants that had kind of like a race car vibe, if you could call it that. Does this ring a bell? Yeah, it kind of looked like a race car vibe. It was like
I need to remember
a red and white, and then it said like Ricochet down a leg. They were kind of like they were kind of like Kevin Nashy pants. They weren't like I don't know, man. When the gear tends to shift like that, I tend to feel like that's uncertainty.
Yeah.
In the character there. I don't know what the fix is. I guess you kept Ricochet because that's a brand. I don't know if going under a different name would be, to your point, like Prince Puma, but that's a whole established character.
Right. Oh, I see.
So
yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like
it's NASCAR.
Yeah, I mean they're red and black and white with like I don't know what that fucking word is. They're almost like arrow shaped. But they are a little on the baggy side. They're almost like Ooh, are they kind of like Shawn Michaels-y? Like the pants Shawn Michaels, just not as baggy?
A little, yeah. It's yeah.
That's what it kind of
It.
reminds me of. But yeah.
Anyways, hopefully something. I don't know.
Yeah. Um, let's go with Lashley Swerve before we go to the main event.
Sure. Yeah. I
Dope ass stomp at the announce
going
table. I mean,
going into this, I was like, I would be hard pressed if Bobby was going to do the job on his first match.
mhm.
So I had my suspicions, but I was also like, you can't have Swerve take an L, right?
They sure did
They sure did. Yeah,
with
they
the
sure
full
did.
Nelson.
Yo, Bobby, let's talk about gear. Bobby's gear was fucking so sick. Dude,
I mean, he's
gold
fucking
camo, never has that ever crossed my mind. Never has that. I've seen it all. I've seen pink camo, I've seen that weird orange camo, green, standard, the blue, the gray urban camo, the digital kind of camo, purple and gray, purple and brown, brown and green, yellow, gold? Dude, no. Get the fuck. That looked so fucking sick.
Is that gonna
That
be
was
your new gear?
probably. That's probably going to be my
Gold
whole new
camo.
identity. I don't even know who I am. I'm criticizing these characters. I'm going to be gold camo guy. And that's where I go. You can't see me in the bling. You can't see me in the bling. That's my guy. That's my character. I'm hiding in the Scrooge McDuck gold pile. I loved it. Anyways, yeah, and
awesome.
beat him with the Hurt Lock.
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting that over.
Which is great. I mean, talk about finishers that you don't really see anymore.
Right. And that thing is gnarly when he does it.
I mean, look at him. Like,
yeah, it was. I mean, God, dude, and he's like 50 something.
Lashley
we were talking about
it. Yeah,
he's like 50 something. It's like I'll have what he's having, which is some gear, I would guess.
You want the
Speaking
gear.
of full gear,
might be time I would wear that all the time. He's 48.
He's 48. Okay, you're not quite there. You're not quite there. I mean, yeah. Again, there were moments where I was like, "Oh man, they're gonna beat him," and there were moments where I'm like, "Oh no, I think he's going." Just speared his own butt right through the fucking barricade.
Jesus,
always good. They didn't abuse that spot beforehand, so like it went through nice and clean. There was a lot of times where I'm like, "Oh, we're going into the crowd. Oh no, we're coming back in." Anyways, yeah, good showing for Bobby. I hope they cue him up for something cool as well and make that Swerve loss mean something.
In the C2?
I only saw the blue.
Oh, I think it's Shelton.
I only saw the blue. I think Shelton is in the blue.
I think he is in the blue too. Blue too. And yeah, Shelton. Why not have Bobby there? I don't know.
I think Bobby's got to build something a little bigger.
Champ.
I mean, but that's such a short path.
TNT
you gotta either have somebody just rip it off of Danny's corpse. I think you gotta have somebody either pick a fight with Bobby, even though that doesn't make sense because they're the Hurt Business. They are the ones who like to
pick the fight,
hurt people. That's their business. Yeah, that's what they do. So hopefully some other face that they can make something cool out of. and not just Darby, because Darby can bump around and take L's and nobody cares.
Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. Let's go to the main event. Mox versus your favorite, Orange Cassidy.
Yeah. Wasn't excited. I was interested. Because I was like, are they really gonna fucking put the title on Orange Cassidy?
I just kept thinking. I mean, every time I would watch the pre view for that match, I'm like,
the November Rain.
Stop with the backpack thing. I think I would care so much more, if during that backstage interview, if he was just like, backpack done,
backpack done. Yeah, this is real. I am gonna be the champion.
Yeah. If he would have done that and like abandoned that and just being like, I'm going out there and I'm gonna win this title, I think I would have been like, hell yeah, do it. But the funny thing is, like, I think you messaged me, but I was just like, yeah, I don't care for him to win. Also, but I was also thinking like, he's probably gonna win me over by the match. But at the same time, I'm just like, no, I don't really want that.
Yeah. And again, I think the right guy went over.
Yes, 100%.
I guess most of this kind of is at the end, which
you said you didn't. You thought it was a little too crazy.
Nah, because they like tried to really late work Christian in to the whole story. Or no, sorry. They tried to work Christian into the Hangman Jay White storyline. Christian compromised Hangman's first loss. Or not his first loss, but the most recent one before the pay-per-view. Because Christian went and got involved. Why? I don't think they ever said why. So that's immediately messy. Christian coming out makes sense. Now he needs to sign the damn paper apparently, because he hasn't signed it and carried it around.
Right.
Which, okay, there's holes in that plot, but wrestling, right? We'll chalk that up to wrestling. Now who came out? No, so Hangman comes out after Christian to thwart him, I suppose.
Yeah, and then stops him from. He like holds on to he like grabs the.
Yeah, and then it was like, hey man, you should just sign into this thing right now. Yeah. If all it takes is the signature, like, that's you should sign it right now. And I was like, dude, sign it. Like, fuck it. Like, yeah, do it. Sure. Like, I'm cool with that.
And I think in story of Hangman's character, he would 100% do it. But Christian's like, hey, I'll give you the first shot, bro. And of course Hangman's going to say yes. You don't think Hangman can beat Christian? Yeah.
I don't think he can beat the patriarchy is the difference.
Well, yeah, that's different. But I think Hangman and I don't know, he can
Christian's
beat
pretty good, but yeah. And then Jay White is on the scene.
Which makes sense. I mean, Hangman being out there, him.
I mean, like, he just beat him. What does he have any reason?
Because Hangman has no reason to be out there and justify.
Hangman does, because he's got beef with Christian for fucking causing that L.
And that's why Jay White's out there, because he just freaking beat him.
Right. So Jay's out there. Yes. And I understand that the end of that all was to show the title scene. Yeah. And how many contenders there are. It was just kind of like, I mean, I don't think you had to do that then. I don't think you had to do that at the end of the show. Right. I think you could have done that at Dynamite or at the post scrub. I think you could have done that at the scrum.
The scrum.
I think Christian was a good addition.
Yeah.
Because that makes sense. The rest of it, little forced and a little fizzly. You know, you have this big pay-per-view and you have this like victory, and then there's kind of all this stuff, and it just kind of like, right, that's the end. And what's funny about that is that's also kind of like suffocating Bryan Danielson. That also kind of caused that pay-per-view to kind of the way that Danielson lost.
Yeah.
They kind of and look, you know who's bad at ending stuff too?
Who?
We are. We're really bad. We're really bad at ending our interviews. We're kind of awkward when we end our episodes because we're like, yep. And thank you so much for that. I guess that's all we said. So like, I understand.
It felt that way.
It felt that way.
Because then you have the car crash thing happening.
Right. Then there was the car crash thing, and then it's like, yes, there's Darby. Darby boy. I hope he's not next in line.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was going at. Like, I really liked the addition of Hangman and Jay White towards Christian, just because of like the triangle happening there. And then Christian, brilliantly, I think it's freaking great the way that he's treating his Money in the Bank contract. Because why wouldn't you go out there and try to beat freaking Moxley for it when you have the chance? Hit him with your finisher, and then like, I'm gonna pin him and use my contract. Oh wait, someone's stopping me. Oh no, now no one's stopping me. Now Jay White comes out. Now Jay White's stopping me. It's like, okay, this is cool. And it's just like, you always like, we don't get that with like the current Money in the Bank holder.
We certainly do not get that with the Money in the Bank in the E.
It's like Christian will always be on his toes to get that shot of the championship.
Yep.
He's going to come out every single time and be like, look, this is what I have. Whether you're holding that championship or, you know, if you're worried about, you know, when you lose, you should always be worried that Christian's going to come out.
Immediately, yes. And give you his finisher and then sign the thing and then start the match. And just roll your ass over.
So it'll be interesting. I mean, I think it's cool the way that they're doing that, and that whole thing. But that's the show. That's its full gear.
That's the show.
How many gears do you give this?
Out of how many gears do I get to give it?
Yeah, out of 4 gears.
I got 4 gears? What a weird amount of gears. Out of 4, I will give it a safe 2.8.
2.8 gears.
2.8 gears out of.
I'm gonna throw that graphic to
throw that graphic up. 2.8 gears, and yeah, that's what I would give it. Not quite 3.
Yeah, I would probably.
What? How many? You're giving it to the decimal point. 2.8.
I don't think I'm gonna go 2.8. I really liked it. I think there was a lot of things that, you know, were really well done. I think there was some matches that could have not have been on this card, and just shorten the show, make it a great show. I think it lacks currently what the like big pay-per-views are, and that feeling. Just because it's like, well, we're doing so much, we're getting so much. I'd probably go with I'm gonna do a half, 2.5. I thought for their pay-per-view status, it was kind of in the middle for me.
Card was good, and we talk about this too, bro. Where's your set game at?
Which they changed. I mean, this is a different set, but it doesn't pop. It doesn't
pop. Yeah.
Something new. We'll see.
Wow. World's End is the next one?
Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Because I bought the 2-for-1 deal on Triller.
Oh, you did Triller.
I did Triller this time because I was going through the Fire Stick.
Did you use a VPN?
Why? Should I have? Do I need to?
Yeah, you should. They're about quarter cheaper. Yeah, you should.
I'm gonna cut this part out of the episode. Is
fine.
this something I gotta know?
No. I mean, definitely. VPN's not bad. You can use a VPN and get your pay-per-views cheaper. In case people didn't know, use a VPN, get your pay-per-views cheaper.
Great.
Boom, 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 boom. I can always.
I'm glad I could educate our listeners with my dated arrogance on the technology before me.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, you're doing it. You're wrapping it up. You're going there. Let's go there.
Man. Now we go. All right. Thank you all so much for listening. Don't forget to follow us at Pacific Wrestling Network on the Instagram, Blue Sky, YouTube, Twitch, and all of those fun things. We have a great interview out with Zay Perez, one half of the Flamin' Aces. It was a great time. That's live on Spotify. The video version's live on YouTube. So did some little editing around and, made it fun. And I think now the next time we got some more stuff lined up. I think more things will be announced. So thank you all so much.
Yeah, if you enjoyed that interview, we're looking to do more. So yeah. Thanks for listening and be glorious.